In the dimly lit courtroom of a small Pennsylvania town, where the air hung heavy with the scent of polished wood and faded justice, Judge Harlan Whitaker leaned back in his creaky chair, his bushy eyebrows arching in disbelief. The case before him was unlike any he'd presided over in his 30 years on the bench, a bizarre estate settlement from the late eccentric millionaire, Elias Thorne, who had stipulated in his will that his vast fortune would go to the men who agreed to marry one of the women he'd rescued from various walks of life, all of whom were now wards of his estate. Pick any wife for free, the will read, as if love were a commodity on a shelf. The gathered bachelors, mostly fortune hunters in tailored suits, had the lineup of women with calculating gazes. But when young attorney Samuel Reed stepped forward, pointing to the quiet figure at the end, the plump Amish girl named Miriam, shrouded in her plain dress and bonnet. The judge couldn't help but burst into laughter. "I'll take the obese Amish girl," Sam declared, his voice steady amid the snickers. The room fell silent, save for the judge's echoing guffaw, as everyone wondered if this was madness or mercy. Samuel Reed had always been the kind of man who blended into the background, a mid-30s public defender with a modest apartment and a heart scarred by loss. Growing up in the shadow of Philadelphia's skyscrapers, he'd watched his single mother work 3 jobs to keep them afloat, her kindness to strangers a beacon in their stormy life. But after her death from cancer 2 years prior, Sam had buried himself in pro bono cases, defending the forgotten, immigrants, the homeless, the overlooked. This courtroom spectacle, advertised in local papers as Thorne's grand matrimonial giveaway, had drawn him not for the money, but for a whisper of curiosity. The women stood there like exhibits. A glamorous model from New York, a sharp-witted professor from Boston, an athletic adventurer from California, and then Miriam, the outlier. She was 28, exiled from her Amish community after refusing an arranged marriage to a man twice her age, her weight a shield against the world's judgments. Her eyes, downcast and gentle, held stories Sam recognized, the quiet ache of being unseen. As the judge wiped tears of mirth from his eyes, still chuckling, "Son, you sure you don't want to rethink that? We've got beauty queens here," Sam felt a surge of resolve. He wasn't choosing for looks or status. He saw in Miriam the same quiet strength his mother had possessed, the selflessness that turned hardship into grace. The other men jeered, calling it a fool's bargain, but Sam signed the papers that day, binding himself to a stranger in a union born of impulse. The wedding was simple, held in a Quaker meeting house to honor Miriam's roots, with no fanfare beyond a few witnesses. As they exchanged vows, hers whispered in Pennsylvania Dutch, his in halting English, Sam wondered if he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. Miriam moved into his cramped apartment, her few belongings fitting into a single suitcase, a Bible, a quilt sewn by her grandmother, and a journal filled with unspoken dreams. Their early days were awkward, a dance of cultural chasms. Miriam rose at dawn to bake bread from scratch, her hands kneading dough with rhythmic precision, while Sam gulped coffee and rushed to court. She spoke little, her English accented and sparse, but her actions screamed volumes. She mended his torn shirts without asking, left wildflowers on his desk after noticing his weary sighs. Sam, in turn, tried to bridge the gap, teaching her about the English world, smartphones, movies, the buzz of city life. One evening, as rain pelted the windows, he found her crying over her journal. "I am burdened," she confessed, her voice breaking. "You chose me for pity." The judge laughed because I am joke. Sam's heart twisted. He sat beside her, not touching, respecting her boundaries. "No, Miriam. I chose you because in a room full of shine, you were the light that didn't blind. My mother taught me that true worth isn't in the mirror, it's in the soul." But life tested them. Sam's caseload exploded with a high-profile immigration case, defending a family of refugees facing deportation. Sleepless nights blurred into days, and he barely noticed Miriam's quiet withdrawal. Then came the unexpected turn. One afternoon, returning home exhausted, Sam found his apartment transformed. Miriam had sewn curtains from thrift store fabric, arranged books on shelves she'd built from scavenged wood, and prepared a meal of hearty stew that reminded him of childhood comforts. More startling, she'd been reading his case files, left carelessly on the table, and jotted notes in her journal. "This family," she said softly, handing him pages filled with insights, "they like my people. Shan't for belief. But laissez mercy possible." Her observations, drawn from Amish teachings of forgiveness and community, sparked a legal angle Sam hadn't considered, invoking religious asylum precedents. It was a profound realization for him, At this woman, dismissed by the world as simple and unrefined, possessed a wisdom honed by a life of introspection and faith. As the trial loomed, their bond deepened. Miriam accompanied him to court one day, her presence a quiet anchor amid the chaos. The opposing counsel sneered at her appearance, whispering jabs that echoed the judge's initial laughter. Sam felt rage bubble, but Miriam squeezed his hand. "Words are wind," she murmured, quoting an Amish proverb. "Actions are harvest." Inspired, Sam delivered a closing argument infused with her insights, painting the refugees not as statistics, but as humans deserving of compassion. The jury, moved, ruled in favor. That night, celebrating with takeout pizza, a novelty for Miriam, Sam confessed his growing affection. "I didn't expect this," he admitted. "I thought I was saving you, but you're saving me." She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "God works in mystery. We save each other." Yet the true climax came months later, when tragedy struck. Sam's old friend, a fellow attorney, called in desperation. His sister, battling addiction, had overdosed and was in the hospital, her young daughter left orphaned in all but name. The system threatened to swallow the child into foster care, a maze Sam knew too well from his cases. Overwhelmed, he paced the apartment, despair clawing at him. Miriam, sensing his turmoil, sat with him through the night. "In my community," she said, "we raise barns together. No one alone." The next morning, she proposed something radical. "They would take the girl in, but we're still learning each other," Sam protested. "And you? You've given up so much already." Miriam stood firm, her voice unwavering. "Kindness not about easy. It's about right. This child need home. We have one." In that moment, Sam saw her fully, not as the obese Amish girl the world mocked, but as a pillar of selflessness, her generosity a force that could reshape lives. They fought through bureaucracy, Miriam's testimony in court, a poignant recount of her own exile and redemption, swaying the judge to grant them guardianship. The girl, Lily, arrived wide-eyed and scared, but Miriam's gentle ways coaxed smiles from her. She taught Lily to bake, to pray, to find joy in simple things, while Sam provided stability. Their home, once a bachelor's retreat, bloomed into a haven of laughter and love. One evening, as Lily slept between them on the couch during a family movie night, Sam turned to Miriam. The judge laughed because he didn't understand. "But I do now. Choosing you was the best decision of my life." Tears glistened in her eyes. "And you chose my heart, not my shell. That is true love." Years passed, and their story rippled outward. Sam left his high-stress job to start a nonprofit aiding displaced families, with Miriam as his partner, her insights guiding programs that blended Amish communal values with modern advocacy. Lily grew into a confident young woman, inspired by her adoptive parents' example. The once laughing judge, upon hearing of their success, sent a letter of apology. Admitting, "I saw a joke where there was a miracle." Their tale spread through blogs and podcasts, resonating across America, from bustling cities to quiet farms, reminding people that kindness sees beyond surfaces, that selflessness can heal the deepest wounds. In the end, Sam and Miriam's union proved that humanity's greatest power lies in choosing compassion over convenience. In a world quick to judge and divide, their love stood as a beacon. Pick the overlooked, embrace the different, and watch how generosity transforms not just one life, but many. It's a reminder that hope blooms in unexpected places, leaving us all a little more inspired to extend a hand, to see the soul shining through.